Hello, Rosemary. How are you?
Hi, Carol. I am doing well. How about you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm excited to do this because we had some requests to help people work most efficiently with our decks. So we're going to be doing this presentation is about how to work with the body of wisdom oracles. So this is
I'm
something
excited.
different. Yes.
I'm
Thanks for
excited.
being with me here today.
Yeah,
And
you bet. I love these decks, and it's so interesting. They were written one after the other separately, but they dovetail so beautifully. I liked how when you did that interview with Tara Diana, how you explained how the flow of the development went. It's beautiful.
yeah, so this is pretty much what the intention behind each of the decks. So the I am is the practicing self-discovery and expanding awareness. So this one has question is also in on the bottom of each card, one or two questions to help people delve a little deeper in getting to know who they are and noticing patterns. You know, that deck is I kind of refer to that deck as the gentle shadow work.
I love that. That's a great moniker for that. Gentle shadow work. I love it.
Yeah, because it's we have to be able to understand who we are, so then we can
Mhm.
shift a lot of things is hidden on or has not been explored. And if we're like for me, I know that I kept attracting the wrong energy in my field. So I
Mhm.
really had to ask a lot of questions and I have answered all of the questions in those decks because
Yeah.
in this deck because of all the changes that I wanted to create for myself. So this one is really about expanding self-awareness and getting to know who you are. Then we have the color one. And I know you work with the I am deck a lot.
I
You
use
were
it
one of
every
the first
day.
you were
I
one of
use
the
it.
first person to buy the deck
Yes,
from
and I use
me.
it every day. I bought it as soon as it came out, and I still use it every day. Um, I use it as a springboard, and I ask, what do I need to know for today? What do I need to be aware of today? Or what are the energies of the day going to be like? And then it gives me an insight into, and I journal about it so that at the end of the day, I go back and I see, okay, is there a correlation here? Are there synchronicities? Are there coincidence? There are no such thing as coincidences, they're coincidence. And so, and it's so interesting how if you do that, you'll see the accuracy in the
Uh-huh.
cards. It's remarkable. Yeah, it's my go-to deck. I pull an I am card every single day.
Nice, nice. And I believe that's how we kind of met.
Yes, it is. It is.
So it's been 5 years. We've known each other 5 years, my friend.
Yeah.
So this is the second deck. We were working. We worked on the crystal deck together, and I was working simultaneously with this one,
Yeah, with the color deck. It's
with
a
the color
beautiful
deck,
deck.
and for me, this one is really about creating that space of expansion.
Yeah,
I found that colors are. I feel like colors are underutilized, and
I agree.
you know, from my previous job, I had to wear mostly black and the white chef coat because of the work that I was doing. And once I started doing the spiritual work, my wardrobe, like I trashed the black out of the door, and then I brought in all the colors of the chakras. So my wardrobe really got brightened. And it was funny because it made me feel better by myself too.
Hmm.
You know, just
Hmm.
the brightness of some certain colors and incorporating it with me because I was also mindful to coordinate with the chakras. So it's like I was working with the chakras. So it was kind of I was building a relationship with the colors and my chakras. So it was really an interesting experience that I was doing. So this one, we talk about, well, we'll go a little bit in more in depth, but this one is about creating that space and connecting with their frequencies of the colors and then some of their qualities. And then you want to talk about the crystal deck because I know we had such a special relationship with the deck.
Yeah, this is the crystal deck. This was our first collaboration. Thank you for taking me along on your amazing journey and having enough faith in me to ask me. Carol is a very gifted in very many ways. One of them is that she's an amazing graphic artist and she works with fractals and sacred geometry. And she started getting information coming in. She wasn't working directly with the actual physical stone, but she was getting images that would come in, and then she'd realize that, oh, this is, and some of the stones she didn't even know, but she was getting these images and she started sending them to me. And her art speaks. If you pay attention, if you look at it, you work with it, you get all kinds of information from it. So every time she'd show me something she'd done, I'd say, wow. And I'd tell her what I saw, what I perceived. And so she extended this amazing invitation to me and said, do you think you could give voice to these cards, to the crystals? And I said, I have no idea. I said, wow. I said, I can try. And so she sent me, was it 6 images that you sent me?
I think so.
Yeah, I said, send me some images to practice on and I'll send you what comes through. And then if you like it, we can move forward. So I didn't say yes until, because I wanted to give her an out in case it didn't work out the way she was thinking. And I have to tell you that I really connected with the images and they pulled in these. What I learned from this experience was that on this 3-dimensional earth plane, these multi-dimensional sentient beings present as crystals and stones and gems and minerals and some metals, but that's just what they do here. So, and they're very, very wise and they're very, very ancient and they have so much to share. And it also took me into a foray, something that I'd never done was automatic writing. They would speak to me and I would just put down what they said. And then and then Carol took all of that stuff because sometimes there was a lot of it. Somebody would really talk to me for a long time and it was very sing-songy and almost poetic. And she has the capacity to pull the meat, the nuggets, the kernels, the most important part out of what was said. And that's how the cards came into being. So it was an amazing collaboration. And she was so easy to work with and so supportive. And so thank you for including me on that. And thank you, beautiful beings that spoke and gave us this information. These are guidance cards. They give you information regarding ways to approach things that you're running into.
Yeah, they're very encouraging
They're
messages.
very encouraging, very positive.
So then we published these in 2022.
Yeah.
And then we moved on to the embracing your the consciousness of my I am article, which is
Love this
about
image.
embracing our multidimensionality and all that we represent as spiritual beings, as energy beings, right?
Mhm.
So talking about the how infinite and universal we are. And then the last one, which kind of was an interesting collaboration. That one was the yeah,
Well, that was
manifestor.
exhausting. This deck kicked our butts. It really, we the consciousness deck didn't come, it came with work, but there was a real flow to it, and it was invigorating. The manifestation deck, because we were bringing things from outside of the physical realm, bringing the information down in to the physical realm to help people understand how to manifest. It was like we were manifesting. And so it was exhausting. We would, when we were doing the consciousness cards, we could kick out a few cards in a sitting. But if we got one card finished in one sitting, and the sittings were usually a couple of hours, it was a journey. It was a journey.
And
Um,
we had to integrate as well, right? We had
yes,
to go
and
through
and
this.
and yeah, and we shifted as we were making the deck. Well, that happened, I think, in all of the decks, there was a shift that occurred,
Of course.
but the manifestation deck was a big push, and it was really interesting. And I love the images because they vibrate. They're very vibey.
Yeah, we're gonna have examples a little bit.
Yeah, they're very vibey.
So our intention in designing the oracle was to provide the curator with multi-sensorial experiences and really kind of create that body, mind, spirit connection. Rosemary shared, each deck has its own personality, each deck has its own way of communication. Gonna move you here. And then there are common threads throughout our oracles. And compassion for, we found that those are the themes in some ways, which is about, compassion for self and others. So it's also self-acceptance.
Right.
And remembering who we are, self-love to self-acceptance, uncovering our gifts, tapping into potentialities. So all these kind of work together. And like you said, they work independently, but they also work beautifully as a team. And they kind of give you a storyline. Like we do the messages of the body of wisdom oracles every month. And you can see kind of like how they all tied in and how they support and create that story, right? They build on each other.
Right. And sometimes it's really interesting. There'll even be a color theme running through a reading.
That's true.
And we'll pull our 5 cards or cards for the reading for the month. It's like, wow, look at the tones of these colors, the hues, and how closely they're related. It's really interesting.
And then, it's about working with what you see. A lot of it for us, I think, for me, I know my intention is for really people to connect with the Insolis tree designs, especially the consciousnesses. With the head, they all look like they're portals to higher consciousness, and so it's fun uh, to really delve into that. Um, it's giving you permission to explore the unknown in a different way. In some ways, you can do it through the meditation, but you could also do it through the visual representation.
Well, and you can meditate on the cards,
Exactly.
on the image of the card and images
Right.
of the cards. I think that they'll see that as we start working with the cards, that the depth of the images is just amazing. And we have one of our friends who's curator of all 5 decks. She has said that even if I'm working with the same deck and get the same cards, I never see the same cards twice, because when they come up for different reasons, and there's something different that jumps out at her from the card each time. So even though the cards have these gorgeous images and you flip them, we don't have guidebooks because they're not necessary. You flip them and then you get this beautiful message. We encourage you to look at the images and glean information, your own information, what you perceive from the images, because they're not static, they're alive.
Yeah, and it was really interesting because with all of the images, we let like the first I am, it's kind of like I look at the image and then the image, like you said, spoke to me. and it told me what to become. So like, so this one, for example, I'm not sure. Can you see my cursor on it?
Yes, it's the
Okay.
spiral, the beautiful spiral that
Right.
looks like
So,
it's got green leaves. It's gorgeous.
right. So for me, my interpretation of that was almost like a rooster, and
Oh, yeah.
the confidence of the rooster. That's how I became. I am confident.
Mhm.
Um,
And you know how what it looked like to me, the way I interpreted that the first time I saw it, is it reminds me of a I don't know if you've ever seen ferns, the fronds of ferns
uh-huh,
before they open,
uh-huh.
they're spiraled around, and this looks like an unspiraling and an opening and a growth and the confidence to step forward and expand. That's how when I first, and the green part, you know, the power, the yellow is the power to do it. The pinky red is the heart to move forward, then the power to do it, and then the growth, the expansion, and the abundance and the healing that happens through the green. So yeah, that was a big card for me the first time I ever saw it.
So so you can appreciate both interpretation, and so
Exactly, two different
that's
interpretations. Yeah, but they
exactly
still
so.
sort of have the same essence.
Right, so that it really encourages you to connect with it and see what you see with this one. So, because we all have different experiences that we bring into our interpretation, right? So,
Yeah.
so the intention. This is the back of the card of the box, and then this is the message that we decided to for the I am. Aligning with the power of I am. This oracle is a tool to support you in your inner spiritual journey. Each beautifully crafted and unique design reflects an empowering word, statement, and purposeful questions. Combining those elements allows you to go deeper within and helps you to move forward in the remembrance of who you truly are. So,
You know,
who
and
are you truly?
I love those questions too, because for me, they've always been journal prompts. And then one of them will lead to another one for me. You know, they'll be like, I'll write on one of the questions and then other questions come in. And so, yeah, I love those questions.
So on this one, I had decided to do the copyright on it because I my reasoning behind it was I had attended a few places that the person decided to distribute cards to each of the participants, but then no one knew what deck it was. So that was why I put that on there. I didn't do that in the other decks, but on this one, it was kind of like I want people to find me.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you're gifted that card, then you know where to look.
Yeah, yeah, that
But
makes perfect sense.
things have changed also because now Alacor Wellness is my legal entity, but I
Mhm,
was guided in 2021, January of 2021 to rebrand. So then that's how it became Soulful Joyful Living as the brand.
mhm.
So this card, this is the I am, and then this is how when you flip it, then you see what the unleashing my potential is. What I am unleashing my potential.
Mhm.
What I like to do also sometimes is, if I'm being like I'm resisting doing something, or I don't feel like I have the necessarily the know-how, whatever. I ask myself, okay, who do I need to be today to be
Oh,
able to
that's a good
fulfill what
question.
I need to fulfill?
Oh,
And,
that's a
and then
good
I'll pull the
question.
card, the I am, and then that kind of gives me that push. Okay, I can do this. But so it's an interesting way of working with the card. Also, it's kind of like, who do I need to be today to be the best version of myself?
Yeah.
And then you can embrace like I'm unleashing my potential. So okay, so what does it look like?
Mhm.
So then you have the message. I acknowledge who I am, how awesome I am, and how limitless I am in my potential. And then the questions that were brought in is how healthy is your self-worth? Because a lot of time is we don't reach our potential because we don't think we're worthy of, or we diminish our own abilities. and or we relinquished our abilities or our powers to someone else. So
Mhm.
so we don't really know what's inside of us. And so that's why I called it the inner journey of empowerment, because it's kind of like undiscovering what's within you. So the image for me here felt like it was a tree, and it was like branches growing out, expanding out, and the blue. I always think of the blue and the gold as, for some reason, to me it represents mastery.
Oh.
I that combo of colors. So it's
Mhm.
about, unleashing my potential. It's about embracing embracing those powers, and mastering who I am.
Yes.
So I put this one as this one was funny because when I had to reduce the design to make it fit on the format that I wanted. So I only have a part of it. And I know you have a different interpretation of this card, but the what was interesting is the whole image almost looked like a crime scene, when they draw the chalk marks around the victim on the ground. And it was
Yeah.
exactly that. So I started chuckling, and I said, that has to be, I'm no longer a victim, because
Right.
it's like, you're laying on the ground dead, and then there's no movement, nothing. So it's like, no, this is no longer an option here.
Yeah, with
So,
pink tape instead of yellow tape. Yeah. Well, and
so
the way I see this is I was an elementary school teacher for forever, for like 40 years. And the shape of it reminds me, so many of my kids like to draw butterflies, and they do this little loop and then a loop and then another loop and then another loop. So they had like this four-leaf clover thing, and then they draw a line in the middle and antenna. And this reminds me of a child's image, an idea of a butterfly with a pretty polka dot in the middle. And so because of butterfly, I interpret it as metamorphosis. And and growth and evolution. And so no longer a victim is perfect for that, because you've shifted who you are and are no longer a victim.
and so the statement is, I take responsibility for how my life is unfolding. So,
Mhm.
it's um, the mentality of victim can really keep us stuck.
Oh, yeah,
And once we see that we actually have a choice in 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 deciding how our life unfold, then it's we're no longer that victim.
that's
So,
right.
and then the question is, how can you empower yourself to take more responsibility for your life? So, these can be used as journal prompts. They could be
Mhm.
used, and you could also pull another card, to answer that question from the deck,
Yes.
from the same deck or from another deck.
Mhm.
And you can also use that question going into meditation.
Yes. Yeah, I've done that.
So we were just wanting to touch a little bit about conducted readings. So personally, I think the more cards you draw, the less focused you're going to become, and it might take you on a tangent. So I like to kind of keep the smaller number of cards pulled. I don't know about you. I know you have more experience working with oracles and tarot. So what's your take on that from my point of
Well,
view?
I had the pleasure of taking coursework from uh, Colette for many years through her Oracle school. And she always says there's a whole story in just one card.
Mm.
One card is plenty. You can add more cards, but you can pull a single card and there's a whole story in it. And I totally agree with that. And I agree with you in that. I mean, I do all kinds of readings. I do readings for a living. And you can do a Celtic cross which is a 10-card spread. But you can also pull a single card and get plenty of info to work with. So I think sometimes the more cards you pull, the cloudier it gets.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. And that's why I pull my I am card every morning. And then I usually will pull a rune, one of the Celtic runes. I'll pull one of those. And then I will go to one of the other decks, one of our Body of Wisdom deck, and usually one of them will call me. It's like me today. So I'll pull a card from one of the other decks, and then I end up with a 3-card spread, but they're all with
Right.
different things in mind. Like the I am card is always, this is how I start my day. This is how I start out my day. And then the rune and the other card that I pull are usually, so this is how I start, how do I make my way through it? Or what are some things I need to know that the energy may be ambient, the ambient energy may be facilitating things. So yeah, I agree with you. I like the smaller spreads.
Right. And we were, I know for myself, I was very purposeful in not having a guide, because I found myself when I was using other people's decks that, um, one, it feels like I'm stepping out of the experience that I'm having with the card, or also sometimes it can take me into this, like some deck creators have so much writing that you
Yes.
kind of get lost in the in 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 reading all of that, but then it's like, okay, how does that apply to me? So it kind of feels like sometimes it takes you in a longer loop,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be in that. So I'm kind of a bullet type of person. It's like, give it to me straight.
Yeah, and keep it simple. Keeping it simple is always better. Because you can
So
get lost in the details.
right. So again, we talked about the in solar tree and how the messages came about. So we really encourage you to connect with the imagery so that you get your own intuitive message.
Well, and the name even of the art is really special in Solistry, because the artwork that Carol does has its own life. It has its own soul. It's ensouled and it's artistry. So it became in Solistry because it was the best descriptor for the kind of artwork that she does. So
We coined that word.
yeah, it was a homework assignment, wasn't it, from Sheila?
Yes.
Sheila gave you homework.
Yeah, she did. She's like, you need to name your art. So we worked on that. And I think also it's important to state things out loud,
Yes.
because I think it creates a projecting energy, and it's like you kind of hear it yourself. So
And it sets up a vibration.
yes,
It sets up a vibration, yeah.
and then notice and sense how you feel when you're actually connecting to it. So we're also intentional in the fact that we want people to experience multisensorial experiences. For me, that's really important, because I really believe that once you experience it on a physical realm, on a physical level, you can't deny the experience.
Mm-mm.
And then it might trigger some, like I'm very clairsentient, but I'm also auditory. So clairaudience plays out, and then I'm also visual. So it's kind of like, but today one sense is going to be more predominant than the other sense, because it needs to. I'll hear it more loudly if I'm feeling it than I'm hearing it sometimes. So it's playing out with your senses. So.
Right.
And then, just journal about what it means to you. I think we are unique, so we all have different interpretation of, like, sometimes in the business, the entrepreneurial program, I ask people, define what success means to you, because it looks different for you, than it looks different for me. So we all have different interpretation of what success means or what happiness looks like. So by you really connecting to that statement and then looking at it from, what would it look like to be confident? And I think it's easier to connect with that because now you defined it for yourself. What does it look like to be confident? And then you can ask that question, well, how do I need to be confident today? How is it going to show up? So, or how is it going to help me today to be confident? And then notice the experiences because um, it's just funny because synchronicities will show up.
Exactly. And that's why when you journal and then at the end of the day you go back and look at it again, you will see synchronicities. You will find things that it's like, that's interesting. That was a happy accident. Of course, there aren't any coincidences. They're coincidence. There aren't any accidents. They're accidents. So, and if you're a person who doesn't like, some people just can't, they don't want to journal. They don't like to pick up a writing implement. And so you can do it on your computer, but if you're abhorrent to that, record it in your phone, talk into your phone and then go back and listen to it, or get one of those little pocket digital recorders that are so amazing and record it that way. Yeah.
I I am one of those person that does not journal, but I made the effort to do it as part of learning self-discipline. And that helped me tremendously because that's how the I am deck became. Because I've always felt because in my previous work, I was always multitasking and I always felt like I always left things open. There was never really a closure. It's like every day, something had to be pushed because I needed to do this first, or something showed up that interrupted this, and then I had to go back to. So it's always felt like I was constantly trying to catch up, and I needed to. And then also part of my numerology, I don't have any four, which is the foundation structure.
Foundation. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
needed to really learn to create that practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then from that practice, I wanted to see something come through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I decided that I was going to create an oracle deck. And the I am is the result of that. So seeing it from concept to actual physical, I was able to touch it. And I was really proud of myself for because I felt like it was I had to prove to myself that I could follow through.
Right.
And
Right.
the I am is that result. So
So journaling was a discipline that
mhm. Yeah.
really worked for you. Also journaling, it doesn't have to be pages and pages. You can write one sentence, one meaty sentence. I mean, we're a culture that has Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. Is it tweet or Twitter? I don't do either one
Twitter,
of
yeah,
those.
yeah,
But it's
or
like
like TikTok is
25
like 20 seconds.
characters. So you learn to get to make things very pithy, very rich and complete in a tiny, tiny amount of expression. So if you have a hard time journaling, tweet yourself. Keep it small but meaty. And then go back and think about it, look at it. And surprisingly, you may find that you want to add to it to flesh it out a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be written, it can be audio. Some
And
people
some
are
people
very,
like,
very auditory.
or some people like to doodle.
Yeah,
They process information through doodling. So allow
yeah.
yourself to doodle.
Yeah, so use your modality, your preferred way of
Right,
whatever works for you.
right. And then use those questions. Like we said, you can use them as journal prompts or
Mhm.
as a meditation tool, meditation guidance.
Right.
So these are some of the color deck.
Oh, they're so
And,
beautiful.
and
I
then
love
so,
your chakra
oh yes,
image that Carol again Dean, the artist that this is one of her logos that she designed, and it's got the lemniscate, the infinity symbol for the sitting in the lotus position, and then all of the chakras, and it's very vibey. You can see the energy coming off of it. It's beautiful. I love that image.
I love this one. I love this is the luscious lemon. Or no, no,
Oh, I
not
love luscious
the,
lemon. Yeah.
it's not luscious actually. It's the luscious, um, juicy peach, luscious watermelon. I forgot what the luminous lemon, I think. I forgot.
Oh, yeah. And I love the texture.
Mhm.
The images have actually look like you could run your hand across them and feel them. They have such texture to them.
So the beautifully crafted images of this article will support you in expanding your field, a field of possibilities, of regeneration, of rejuvenation, of vibrancy and potentiality. Breathing in their qualities and frequency will help you raise your vibration. Furthermore, the I am open to affirming statement will steer you into a space of allowing and flow for you to experience more soulful, joyful living.
Yeah.
So I chose the delicious apricot to showcase today and the emerald. So most colors have three, some of them has two
Qualities.
qualities.
The
Yes,
qualities. Yeah.
yes. I just noticed that the emerald, I didn't use the correct final image that came into the deck. So
Oh no.
because of the writing, it's the writing of the laughter, happiness, and opportunities.
Right.
And it's so I'm open to experience of rejuvenating laughter, shifting me into a state of happiness and magnetizing, enriching opportunities. So what I did is I tied the qualities into an opening statement. So sometimes we're not familiar with some of the qualities, um, or we need a reminder.
Mhm.
What does it feel like rather than, yeah, I know what laughter does, but then, that's why they invented like laughing yoga and this and that, because it really is a shift of energy that it
Mhm.
has to happen.
Mhm.
And by opening yourself to the experience, you're just creating that invitation for something different to occur.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why each of the statement starts with.
Well, and it's also a very active affirmation.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about creating opportunities and expanding and
Right.
um, and discovering, exploring something
Mhm.
unfamiliar. Um,
Mhm.
and look how vibrant the colors are. The
Oh, yeah.
can't be just you cannot but just smile when you're looking at that kind of you're kind of feeling it. So
And the apricot central image makes me think of a seed, and
uh-huh.
it's got all these almost like little sprouts coming off of it. So to me, it suggests growth and expansion and exploration, um, real high energy, um, and the opportunity to sprout and grow. So I really like that. And laughter is perfect
And I
for this
want also
color.
added the sacred flower of life, sacred geometry on each of the card to create that expansion as well, because flower of life is a symbol of creation. So
Right.
um, I just love that pattern. So I felt like it needed to be there.
Nice.
Um, so this deck is about connecting to each of the qualities of each color. It's its frequencies. Again, connect with the front of the card so that you can evoke an intuitive message, and then state that statement. I am open to out loud to really embody it, and then just notice how you feel. And then find ways with a color deck is, find ways to incorporate the color throughout your day. So you can wear clothing, you can you could actually put the card in a protective sleeve and then charge your water with it. You can wear crystals that match those colors. Anything else that you
You
can?
can eat food
Yes, yes,
with that color.
exactly. I just had an apricot this morning. So,
Oh, I love apricots, are one of my favorite fruits.
I made apricot jam with fresh thyme.
Oh my
And
gosh,
it's
sounds
actually very
amazing.
delicious. It's you have to make sure that it's the right combo. So I was lucky that I find the right combo
The right
for
herb
because
to
it
go
could
with it.
time could
Yeah,
be overwhelming. So,
yeah.
but and then ask, one game that you can do when you're driving is like, oh, I want to see an orange car, and then invite it into your field, and then start paying attention, and then you might be surprised how many cars orange before you didn't notice them, but because you put in an intention to call it into your field, they start showing up, and it's like you didn't even realize there were so many orange cars in this county.
Right, right.
So it's a game I played in when I'm driving. I play that with numbers as well. It's like,
Oh
I want to see
yeah.
this number today, so show it to me. It just that game kind of helped me feel even more connected. It brings a smile to my face.
Sure.
So we talked about the crystal deck and how it came to be with your connection with it. And so here is our message: is you're invited to foster your connection to the multidimensional beings of the mineral kingdom who will support you on your path of transformation through awareness, self-compassion, and self-acceptance. They're voicing messages that will remind you of who you are, where you're coming from, and will assist you in recognizing and embracing your true essence. And they're so loving messages and so encouraging as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
So here, I'm gonna run and get. I forgot to bring it, but I'm gonna run.
Oh, are you gonna get the sphere?
Yes.
Yeah. It always
Let's bring
amazes
it with
me
me, and then
how so many of the images actually look like the stones, but she wasn't working with the stones when she did the images. I love this. Is that the azurite? Oh, that's the azurite. Can
yeah.
you put it a little closer to the camera?
Here we go.
There, right there. Put
Trying
it
to
closer to
find.
the camera and rotate it. And the colors are so very similar to the card.
I know I was kind of like blown away when I did the photo shoot. I should have included the photo shoot pictures in this presentation because you would have been able to see how just crazy how they look. And
Yeah,
then
it's,
this is
it's
the
all of the shaping and everything. Oh, that's the rose quartz, isn't it?
this is yeah, this is a little egg.
Mhm.
This one was a gift from friends that we knew from Madagascar,
Oh,
and I love so that's my visual representation of the. So what was interesting, and when the topaz was the first one to introduce herself,
mm-hmm.
and she
She's
introduced.
the one on
I was
she's
doing
the
art.
one on the deck
Yes,
cover.
I was doing artwork, and she introduced herself as Topaz, and then I had more gemstones and crystals show up, and I'm like, oh, well, this is pretty cool. I can do a now. It's like, let me see what happens with Rosie, and then maybe we could create a deck, a little different
Yeah,
than the normal deck,
yeah. Lo and
and
behold.
yeah. So what I felt like was giving a voice, because I was also working on myself, giving myself a voice. I
Hmm.
felt like I was a conduit to giving a voice to those crystals through your messages. So that's why I stated on it, voicing a message of, because I wanted to be, and then giving them that I am presence,
Right.
because I felt like we were connecting with consciousness of the crystals and the gemstones
You
and
were
the
with
metals
your
and the
essences,
rocks.
yeah.
Exactly. So it was just a very honoring experience and a very unique experience.
It was a singular experience. And what was really interesting is that when we were going through and working with the cards and prepping for publication, we would read the messages and I would have absolutely no recollection whatsoever of any of it. It was like it dropped in, it came out in the automatic writing. Carol took it and worked it and made it more beautiful, and then boom, there it was. And it was just like, wow. It was mind-boggling that there was no recollection of doing any of it, which always tells me in my work that I do. When I do readings, I never remember what I say because I'm a conduit. I'm just a vocal cord, so the information comes through me, not from me. So when it happened with these, it was like, okay, so I wasn't making it up.
Right,
It was
right.
something that dropped in.
So these are some of the messages from the crystals. Would you like to read one, or do you want me to do
I
it?
can't see it well enough. I don't
Okay,
have the right
okay.
glasses on.
All right. So is I am as a right, and it says voicing a message of renew, refresh, connect, expand here as insights patiently await. Open wider the unblinking, all-seeing eye. What do you perceive? Travel the spiral path aware that each return to the beginning is a new level. Wade, splash and play in swirling eddies of cleansing waters. Healing the waters springing from the heart, from inner wisdom, from speaking your truth, offering a space to renew, refresh, reconnect, and expand. Insights are patiently waiting.
Wow. I have no memory of that.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
then we have,
beautiful. Beautiful,
they're
yeah.
beautiful, yeah. And then we have the rose quartz. This one, the rose quartz, I always feel like it's kind of like a feminine energy.
Very much so.
Yeah, and then so the and that image really feels like it reflects that nurturing and feminine energy. So on
Mhm.
rose quartz, it says voicing a message of the teaching and the learning of unconditional love begin with you. Nothing is more healing than unconditional love as it heals all wounds. It heals all emotions, anger, fear, sorrow, and worry. It balances the heart and creates space for peace, harmony, and beauty. Unconditional love is a teacher. The teaching and the learning start with the self, within the self, as self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, self-worth, self-trust, and with self-love. It is time to access unconditional love. It is time to spread unconditional love. Begin with yourself.
Wow. Beautiful. Very, very. And boy, what great advice, right? Start with you. What
Yeah,
was that quote from Gandhi? Be the change you want to see in the world.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
it's like if you want to experience love and you want to see love in the world, start by loving yourself and then just let it flow.
All right. So beautiful messages from the crystal family.
Yeah, from the crystal group of crystals.
So I feel like this oracle is supportive in nature. Each shares inspiration, encouragement, and guidance. So same thing is we encourage you to also connect with the design. So to me, that was the visual representation of the crystal or the gemstone or the rock or the we have a few metal as well. And then see part of what the message resonates with you the most. Um, Again, our messages are just springboard. We really want you to connect directly with the cards and their imagery. And then, notice how you feel every time you connect with one. And then if you're really drawn to the message, then you could actually have a physical experience by actually purchasing the crystal. Um, some of them are more rare than others. What I also like in the crystal is we have a little bit of not so common crystals. And so I like that about it. And then we're in the future, we may actually have a volume 2.
Yeah. And you sent me some stuff that I've been working on. I need to send it back to you.
Okay.
You sent me an email with some images.
So now we move on to the embracing the consciousness of my I am oracle. And so I got excited when I had that shape available to make the designs inside the consciousness. So the box, yeah, oops, I'm holding it backwards. Here we go. So this one is the first image that led me to create the imagery, and it felt like it was the activation of pineal gland. So this one is the divine frequencies.
And the consciousness deck. Yeah, it's amazing deck.
So here we have the beautifully crafted images within this oracle are out picturing aspects of your consciousness, and they become portals for you to step into to stimulate your evolution. Through their messages, you have an opportunity to cultivate a deeper understanding of yourself and expand your awareness, creating shifts in your thinking. As your thinking shifts, your awareness shifts. As your awareness shifts, your consciousness shifts, which opens the doors to the remembrance of your I am presence. As you connect to the divine within, being in a state of gratitude is the impetus for embracing your infinite, universal, multidimensional self. So in this deck, we started out all the statement with I am grateful for, because um, it felt like, when we're in a state of gratitude, we experience a different, it gives a different experience. Like the energy is, it's hard to explain, but um, it's a different state of being that you're coming from, and because we what we focus on we attract. Why not focus on gratitude first to invite something that is um, more aligned?
And there's something about being in a state of gratitude that opens you up and it makes you more receptive.
Right.
So, yeah, it's so important. Gratitude is so important.
So again, here we let the imagery kind of dictate what the uh, I think most of the title I kind of got because of the imagery, and then Rosie and I worked on the messages together, and we felt like, what would be beneficial when we're talking about it, the abundant garden, what would be beneficial or as a message to create the proper message, or what we felt was the proper message, I guess. So this one is, I'm grateful for my imaginative, creative mind. As I attend and nurture my lush garden with positive thoughts, my well of gifts, talents, ideas, skills, knowledge, and wisdom support me in making my needs manifest. As my abundance grows, I share myself and my creations more freely. So I like the fertility of the abundant garden, because if you're managing positive thoughts, it just keeps on flourishing. It allows the mind to flourish rather than tame it. So this representation is kind of like, and then it feels with the red also. It feels like you're grounded and you're connected to Mother Earth, and Mother Earth provides the needs, right?
Right. And the central part with the it to me it looks like a celebratory circle, a celebration of growth.
And then so this deck has six. So each deck except for the color has 63 cards, and I was told I needed to do 63 cards. So I said, okay, I'll do 63 cards, you know. And but in this one, because we were dealing with uh, a little bit of it's deep work that you're doing, and the images act as portals. I felt that I was guided actually to add some support cards with it. So in the consciousness and then the manifesto deck, you have also some support cards. So it makes the deck a little bit more than 63 cards. And then the divine. So this one, I love that image of the pineal gland. It's like an activation with
Oh, yeah.
the reverberation here.
Well, and it also feels to me like being right in the center of the universe, surrounded by stars and planets and quasars and nebula and all kinds of stuff. And it's all activated at the same time. It just feels amazing. I love that image.
Yeah, so that's the box cover. And it says, I'm grateful for the clear pathways of communication with Source. As my pineal gland is activated, every cell of my being expands and rejoices in divine frequencies. As a multidimensional being, I am reminded of and celebrate my unlimited potential. So it's really an invitation to
Yes.
swim in that multidimensionality and embrace it.
Yeah, I love that image and I love the message too.
So we feel I think I could speak for both of us. We feel like this is a deck for as used as a tool for transformation through the multisensorial experiences as well, through the portals. The Ensorcestry designs act as portals. They're kind of like doors of exploration for you to step into. The messages act as springboard, so we don't want you to limit yourself to that. So again, inviting that intuitive reading for you that you can create, and then journal about your experiences of journeying through the portals and see what insights you retrieve. And you can use this imagery, and the imagery as tool for meditation, in addition to conducted readings. So. Um, Anything you wanted to add? No.
No, I'm still in awe of that deck. I'm in awe of all the decks, but that one, I mean, I've literally pulled cards for that where I've felt like I was falling into the image. Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful deck.
Yeah, and it's what's interesting is because when we do the readings every month, we're bringing it closer to the camera, and or sometimes we we when we do show and tell and for ourselves, it's kind of like we see something different that we never noticed before,
Yes.
or that we're it's becoming more prominent. So it's kind of like we're getting a new take on it. So we really invite you to connect, because each time you're going to look at it, you're going to you may see something different.
Yeah.
So
Or notice something that you hadn't noticed before.
right, right.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of beings within the cards, within the designs.
Yeah.
So
And I
this
love
one,
the energy of them. They feel like they're going like this, like vibrating.
yeah, that was the intention.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of give, it's almost like I want you to connect to the first layer, and then as you evolve and expand, you're connecting with the second layer, and then you keep connecting to this third layer, and then you just keep on expanding. So it's kind of like it has no limits
Right.
to
It's
the
infinite.
amount of expansion. So here is through the ancestry imagery of rippling vibrations within this oracle, you're invited to engage in a sensorial experience. Each vibratory layer offers an expansion within the quantum field of infinite potentialities. Your intentional and consistent actions are the alchemy to your manifestation. This collaboration will support you in bringing your desires into being. Experiencing this process at the cellular level activates your intrinsic awareness, elevating it from believing to knowing to becoming. Each curated message promotes growth, transformation, and an awakening to what lives within, since you already are a manifestor.
Yeah. We just don't remember that. It's been trained out of us. Ooh, I love these cards.
So this one is the first one is on the left is evolving into light. So for the manifestor deck, we use each of the cards starts up with for the purpose of manifesting my soul's desires because we want to take ownership of that. And so this message here, this for this one is acknowledge and release fears of resistance to evolve into light. I know that the process is a turn on the infinite. Each time I break a pattern, I level up to a landing place of expanded perceptions, perspectives, and consciousness. I move forward in the knowing that things are attainable, doors open. I evolve into who I am meant to be. Because at the end of the day, we are light, right?
Right. Yeah, we are light for sure.
And
Energetic
then
beings of light and pure consciousness. Yeah.
And then our next one is that we're just displaying here is the manifestation tree. So for the purpose of manifesting my soul's desires, I am welcomed into the heart of the manifestation tree. I become one with the cosmic forces of the universe as I am swirled into the energies of circulation and reciprocity. I celebrate all that is in existence, knowing that limitless abundance is accessible to me. So this one, it really feels like um, you're stepping into and then branching it out. It's almost like here you could see, where's my cursor? Here we go. It almost like feels like this is a body and then it has a head here and it has
Right,
arms here. And then it's kind of like you're just opening yourself up
right.
to what the universe has to offer because we are born abundant. We may have forgotten that we are, and our
Right.
experiences may kind of make us feel that we're not. But once we step into that and recognize it, and it can be random things um, that can happen to help you connect with your abundance. And I just love this image because it just feels so vibratory and so expansive. And
Mhm.
it's just an invitation to what's out there. And we're not taking from anybody else. You know, the universe is abundant, nature is abundant.
There's enough for everybody. And I like the bottom part where it's got that reddish color. Now my camera skews to the blue, so I'm seeing that as like a reddish orange. What is it actually?
It's a deep, it's red, and it has a little bit of gold
Yeah.
in it. Yeah,
So I'm seeing it, I'm seeing a lighter red. That
yeah.
makes me think of grounding.
Yes,
And
yes,
the more
definitely.
grounded you are, the farther
Right,
you go.
right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like the branches are going as down as up, you know. So as below, as above, so below.
Yeah, exactly.
So we feel like this deck is a tool for remembering that we're manifestors and that we live in a field of potentialities. Again, you know, connect with each of the ripples of expansion in each layer, inviting you into new potentialities. That's the way I want to kind of connect with the imagery is kind of like allowing that expansion and as you evolve each layer offers even more manifestation possibilities and
Yeah.
stepping into those potentialities and um, the messages connect you to the field of infinite potential, so work with the images, journal again about your expansion is as you're stepping into those infinite possibilities and ask yourself what like when the card here it says new dimensions of expression, so what would it mean for you to be able to fully express yourself or find new ways of expressing yourself and then embrace that. um, and then again, use the imagery as a tool for meditation, because that I think that rippling effect can really take you into unknown territories and
Yeah. New frontiers.
into various dimensions of manifestation. I had to try to put it
Right.
into words. We also have a journal that is focused on one card a day if you wanted to create a more soulful practice. And it's about, creating an intentional day.
Mhm.
So, like, Rosemary was saying, she pulls the I am card each morning. So, and our journal is for 3 months, so it's about 200 pages, and it gives you bullet points of what steps to consider on your evolution, because I wanted to uh, make you think about, okay, what comes next. Yes, I get the message, so it's about your interpretation of the message of what you just experienced, but then it's like, what can I do about it? It's giving you kind of thinking about active steps that you could take to embrace being that.
Exactly.
Again, it's really about the expansion of you. How much do you want to grow, and how much do you want to shift your experiences to more positive experiences, and not either feel separated or attached to what was, and kind of invite something different into your field.
Right. And it takes you from the passive to the active. A
Mhm.
lot of people wait around for stuff to come to them or just to happen.
Right.
That's not how it works. You have to become involved. So
Ye-
it takes you from being passive and expectant to being active and doing and creating. You become the creator. So, yeah,
Yeah, I always use the word, you have to be an active participant in your own life.
absolutely. And I know so many people who have retired from their own lives. And it's like, when did you stop participating in your life? And why? Why?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, look, here's all of the wonder. Oh, Carol's masterful at doing spreads and compilations of spreads. So this is, I love these. These are amazing.
Yeah. So we have volume one, it has 31 spreads, and they range from 1 to 16 cards. The volume two is actually 33 spreads, with each of them with three questions, and each have a different theme. So some of them is kind of ancestral patterns. We have the allowing. We have the spirit of nuts. So it's this one kind of make people smile. But it's, if you think about the each of the nuts, they have they have a shell, and it's like, how what's on the inside, and then what could come out if you were to break that shell. So it's really an interesting. I love
Yeah,
bringing a little different flavor to the norm.
literally
um,
with the nuts. And the inside part of the nut is the germ. It's the growth germ. It's what germinates and grows. So you got to crack that shell so that growth can happen. There are some pine cones that are so tight, come off of pine trees, is they will only split open and germinate with a forest fire.
oh,
So
really?
it takes a certain temperature and a heat to pop it open so that it can throw out its seeds and grow. And so, yeah, when I think nuts are a beautiful metaphor, and they taste good too, and they're really good for you.
Yes. And then I think in this one I have the spirit of clove, and then spirit of cinnamon as well. So I
Wow.
play with different things. And then the latest ones that I've done is the connecting with the body's innate intelligence of and the wisdom of the oracle, with working with the 26 points of the spine, and then working with the 45 points of the stomach meridian. I plan to do more of the meridians, because I think there's so much knowledge in that.
They are
Um,
really, really interesting spreads. They're long.
yes.
So what I've done is when I felt a certain part of my body, I'd say, oh, I'm gonna go get the spread. I'm gonna pull a card for that point and see what comes up. Or if I'm just feeling sort of just overall not feeling quite myself, then I'll do more than one card for one's point. I might start in a certain area. If it feels emotional, I start in the thorax, in the upper part of the spine that's behind the heart. So yeah, it's interesting. They're wonderful. You're so creative. You're so creative.
Yeah, and they're not meant to, with so many points, you're not meant to work all of them at once because
No.
that would be too overwhelming for your body because
Mhm.
we're looking at what is the connection. So you want to have the time to, I would do 3 points max together. But usually I would encourage people to just do one at a time and kind of
Mhm.
really integrate that information because like I was showing this off to someone in when I was having a discussion on Zoom and she's like, oh, okay, so what's the point? What is it about the point behind? Like it was C3 and it talks about the boundaries. And that person at the time was a caregiver. And so it's kind of like, it just made so much sense. When I asked, I said, well, this is the question. She's like, oh, yeah, okay. So it just matches so wonderfully. It's like, no wonder I have tension on this point, because I'm dealing with having to create boundaries because caregiving is very difficult and it can be
Exhausting.
very exhausting. Exactly. Um, so there's so much information that we hold into our body that we're not aware of. And for me, it's about giving the opportunity to bring things out of the surface. Like I was told, I bring the invisible to the visible. So it's
You
about
do.
bringing that to the surface so we can address it and then we can shift. Because if it just keeps being buried, there's no chance for us to be aware of it and to make changes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, go back.
Okay.
I love this image on the where you have the crystal oracle deck
Uh-huh.
and you have that particular stone in the necklace that you have draped over it is very similar to the image for the crystal.
Yes, yes. Just kind of bewildered by the similarity of what the eye. If I hold my pendant, horizontally rather than vertically, it almost feels like the inside of that. This
The
part
image
here.
is
Let me see where
fine.
like this part here
Yeah,
is like a replica of this.
that. As
Yeah,
it was mind-boggling when I saw that image. I said, "Oh my God, it looks just like the cover of the
yeah.
deck."
And I try to make everything eye candy, so even the
Mhm.
the you know the spreads on this one is very colorful. So then you're welcome to join our Body of Wisdom Oracle. Rosie shares some of each card does a rotation of readings with each of the decks, so that can and then she always asks us questions for you to be able to move forward as well and how it applies to you. And I share here and there some card spreads and the daily oracle. So the daily oracle that we've designed is based off of our messages from all of our decks with
Mhm.
a little bit of enhancement from AI. And so they're kind of fun to work with. And then we went back and rewritten them in the way that it makes sense.
Yeah.
And we're excited to share also that we are part of a community on Patreon with Gina and San Grace, Rosemary and I. And we launched this in June. We
Mhm.
are uh, creating playbooks and guides, and we have inspiration. We have lots to offer. And our intention statement is to empower people to discover and explore the depth of their inner knowingness and to alchemize their newfound wisdom into infinite dimensions of love and consciousness. So this is really what we are about. So this is just an example of the first month that we launched. The theme was inner peace. In August, it's going to be outer expression. And this is just some of the sampling of what we offer. So the playbook was in the higher tier, in the pure potential tier. The playbook was over 50 pages, and it's about weekly activities and reflection time, meditations. We also have an entrepreneurial aspect to it. So this is we invite you to check it out.
Yeah, they give you a free 7-day, an opportunity to go in for 7 days and use it for free.
All right.
Yeah.
So
A
we
lot of
welcome you
fun.
into that community. And if you wanted to reach us, for any questions or concerns, or just keep up with us, you can subscribe to Soulful Joyful Living newsletter. Rosemary is on our website as well. And yeah, this is where we are. So we're accessible, and we want to support you in any way we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we do what we do. It's a way of being of service.
Yes, so I'm thankful for this conversation. I think it may help people work with the cards a little, maybe a little more um, with different perspective or different intentions.
Yeah.
I think we brought different flavors to how to work with the cards. Um, and
And don't be afraid to try doing your own thing with the cards. If you get a flash of insight, doing something, doing a certain kind of spread or pulling the cards in a certain way or your interpretation of the card, go for it. They're your tools to help you. We designed them to work with you and help you. So be adventurous, and there's no right or wrong way to
right.
do it. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, and the way that I approach the card spreads, um, I don't limit myself. It's more of like, okay, there's three cards. I'm more about the question, the actual layout of the cards. Some people pay a lot of attention to the layout of the cards, and it also, I feel like it could also be limiting.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so for me, it's more about, however you're called to pull the cards and lay them out, or just more focus more on the question. I feel like the question is more important than how if I stacked up my cards or not. Maybe I'm wrong in that. I don't have formal training of being a reader in that way, but I feel like I don't want to limit myself. So it's all about intuition. It's all about gaining the insight that I need. So
And there's as many different ways of doing readings as there are people who do them. And you have to find what resonates with you for you. And like we said before, you can use the decks as individual decks, or you can pick 2 or 3 to work with because of the type of message you're looking for, because they do dovetail and they do cooperate with one another. It's really interesting to experience.
well, thank you, Rosemary, for this lovely time together. And
Thank you. It was an
I
absolute pleasure. It always is.
I will see you soon.
Yes,
And
ma'am. We'll see you soon. Enjoy the
and
rest of your day.
thank you, and thank you for whoever is watching. I hope we've been supportive in uh, in showing you ways of working with the decks. So thank you.
Yes, thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.